What's up guys? Today in this video, we're going to be giving you another way you can play the Bone Spear Necro. After getting a lot of comments on the in-game Bone Spear video I put out a couple weeks ago, there are a lot of people wanting to know if I can make it more tanky, more user-friendly, and still keep the damage or close to it. So I put together this build. It's way tankier, it's a lot easier to play, and it absolutely destroys Nightmare 100s. Just blasting through them as you can see in the clip. So what makes this build tick? How does it work? Let's get into it. Alright, so the star of the show is the Lidless Wall. So the way this unit works is, while you have an active Bone Storm, hitting an unaffected enemy has a 25% chance to spawn an additional storm at their location. And for every sacrifice you have, that chance goes up by 25%. So, of course, we're going to sacrifice all three, and that 25% chance is going to go to 100. And while there is an active Bone Storm, whether it's on you or an enemy, you have a 15% damage reduction from all sources, and that's given to you by Prime Bone Storm. You will also have a 20% critical strike chance given to you by Supreme Bone Storm. And with a 100% chance to spread Bone Storm to all unaffected enemies, you can literally keep these buffs up 100% of the time. As you can see in the clip, Bone Storm never runs out, and if it does, we have a Bone Storm on cooldown ready to reactivate, so there's no chance that there isn't one active. The key to it is to keep pulling pack to pack so it doesn't fall off. We also have two sources of cooldown reduction for the Bone Storm to make it more available. The first one is Rapid Ossification. For every 100 essence you spend, you get 1.5 second cooldown on all your bone skills. The second is Abhorrent Decrepify. On lucky hit, enemies affected with Decrepify have a 15% chance to reduce all active cooldowns by 1 second. So by doing all that, you should be able to keep Bone Storm and the buffs up 100% of the time. The next thing we need to talk about is Aspect of the Shielding Storm. Each time Bone Storm damages the enemy, you gain a barrier equal to 5% of your base life. So it's real important to get stats like max life on the chest and legs to get those huge barriers. Moving on to Decrepify, it's going to slow our enemies by 40%. They're going to do 20% less damage to us. It also has a 10% on lucky hit to stun, a 15% chance on lucky hit to reduce all active cooldowns by 1 second. So we're also going to take amplified damage, giving us 12% more damage to all cursed enemies. So by taking those two skills, we're definitely going to have a lot more damage reduction. We're going to do more damage, and we're going to have a lot more crowd control. Next, let's talk about essence generation. As you can see in the clip, I'm not using any basic skills, and my essence never runs out. The first way is by using Aspect of Exposed Flesh. It has a 10% chance on lucky hit to generate 50 essence when hitting a vulnerable enemy. The second way is through lucky hit chance to restore primary resources on our gloves and the Lidless Wall. So the way lucky hit works with Bone Spear is whenever you cast Bone Spear, the spear itself has a 50% lucky hit chance, and then each one of the shards that come back also have a 50% lucky hit chance. So that's going to proc the lucky hit on primary resources on our gloves and Lidless Wall, and as you can see, lucky hit plays a huge part of essence management. Next, let's get into the hearts. First up is the Caged Heart of the Barber. How it works is it takes your first crit and all damage after and absorbs it into the target for a certain amount of time depending on your roll, and it increases it by 14 to 15% depending on your roll, and then explodes into all surrounding enemies. Second up is the Caged Heart of the Sacrilegious. What it does is any corpse skill you have active on your bar, it will cast automatically, dealing 38 to 28% reduced damage depending on the roll. So every corpse explosion will give back essence through Grim Harvest, and will also proc Fueled by Death and Flesh Eater, increasing our damage. And CT will provide a lot of extra crowd control and vulnerability. The last heart is the Caged Heart of the Dark Dance, and what it does is every so often it will cost health instead of primary resources to cast our Bone Spear. And by running the Lidless Wall, we have 100% uptime on barriers, so you don't even notice it. Also, when it procs and the Bone Spear's cost health, its damage is increased by 18 to 28% depending on your roll. Okay, let's get into skills. We got 1 into Bone Splitters, 1 into Enhanced Bone Splitters, 1 into Imperfectly Balanced, 3 into Unliving Energy, 3 into Huge Flesh, 5 into Bone Spear, 1 into Enhanced Bone Spear, 1 into Paranormal Bone Spear, 1 into Blood Mist, 1 into Corpse Explosion, 3 into Grim Harvest, 3 into Fueled by Death, 2 into Death's Embrace, 1 into Death's Reach, 3 into Amplify Damage, 1 into Decrepify, 1 into Enhanced Decrepify, 1 into Abhorrent Decrepify, 1 into CT, 1 into Enhanced CT, 1 into Plague CT, 3 into Serration, 3 into Compound Fracture, 3 into Evulsion, 3 into Rapid Ossification, 3 into Standalone, 3 into Memento Mori, 1 into Bone Storm, 1 into Prime Bone Storm, 1 into Supreme Bone Storm, and of course 1 into Ossified Essence. Alright, moving on to the gear. For the headpiece, we're running Deathless Visage. For the chest, we're running Shielding Storm. Make sure you get max life on this. For the gloves, we're running Serration. For the pants, we're running Disobedience. Make them as tanky as you can, and also get max life. For the boots, we're running Wind Striker. For the sword, we're running Splintering. For the neck, we're running Grasping Veins. Make sure you get all these stats. Essence cost reduction, Evulsion, you really need them. For the first ring, we're running Edge Masters. For the second ring, we're running Exposed Flesh. And of course, the shield is Lidless Wall. Okay, for the Book of the Dead, we are sacrificing Skeletal Warriors, Skirmishers. We're sacrificing Skeletal Mages, Shadow. And we're sacrificing the Golem, Irons. Let's get into Paragon. For our first board, we're running Sacrificial. For our second board, we're running Bone Graft with Gravekeeper. For our third board, we're running Sin of Death and Imbiber. For our fourth board, we are running Flesh Eater and Exploit. For our fifth board, we are running Bloodbath and Essence. Now, if you're having a little bit of problem with your Essence management, you can take these 2 points and put them here and here in the Bone Graft board, and that will give you more Essence back on kill. Also, you can make this build a little bit more tanky by trying to grab more of the max life nodes here. Alright guys, so I think that's everything you need to know to get this build up and running. And if you made it this far in the video, please hit that subscribe button. It'll help grow my channel. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.